Hello everybody and welcome to Higurashi GOU episode 14 anime review. An episode where, oh my god, things are getting going. Things are getting going now. It looks like we're gonna finally stop trying to be a pseudo remake and actually just go say, sod it, we're gonna do original stuff now and do whatever the hell we please. Which I actually kind of prefer. Like, me personally, I'd rather be told a new story, even if it ends up, you know, not being great. Which I think this could be alright. I still prefer a new story over a retelling. That's just my opinion anyway. Interested to see how things pan out from here, you know. They've introduced some things that I think are going to come into play later on. And also, Brutal Murder! Brutal Murder made a return. We haven't seen one of them in a while. I guess, no, that's not true. Wait, Okichi beat... We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, for right now, let's get into the episode and see how it began with the aforementioned brutal murder. So the cotton drifting is happening and everything is swell, everyone's alive, everyone's great. Keiichi and Satoko are off canoodling. Like, Mion did not seem fussed. She was like, yeah, they're probably shagging, they're at that age. And it's like, no. I looked this up, I think Keiichi was 14. Obviously they didn't say the word shagging, that was not the implication. But you get what I'm saying, I think Satoko's 11 is the point I'm trying to make here. Moving on. Yeah, Rika says to Hanyu, like, Hanyu, we can break the death fate. And I'm like, yeah, where is Hanyu? We then find out a bit later on where Hanyu is and what's going on with that specifically. But at this point I was like, yeah, where is she? She should be around here somewhere. Rika then is asking around the festival about Tomitake and Takano. They're at the car park, or parking lot, if you want to get American about this, or anywhere else except Britain, I'm pretty sure. I think we're the only place that calls it a car park. Then that's when Oishi shows up, and he's a bit pissed. He's carrying a bloodied bat, so I'm thinking, surely that means he's the one that attacked Keiichi. But Keiichi beat the crap out of, you know, Satoko's uncle with the said bat. So what's going on there? Did Oishi show up? Did Satoko go and get Oishi? Oishi went to the crime scene and then got injected and then he went on a spree with the bat? Or then he took the bat with him to where he was going? Is that what happened? Or was that not the bat? Am I an idiot here? That was the bat, right? It was covered in blood. Must have been. Absolutely must have been. Yeah, Oishi shows up and starts choking Rika because he's on about how Rika's the one behind the cursed deaths. Somehow he thinks this 11-year-old child is, you know, behind everything. Which, I mean, how far, what was it, 4 years ago is the earliest one? Or have I got that wrong? Because then she'd be 7. Oishi? Use your brain. This is the first time I think he's got on a spree, though. Obviously, we heard about this at the end of the last 2 weeks ago episode, but seeing it is kind of harrowing. He then starts shooting everybody, like absolutely everybody. He starts itching his neck, proof that he's got the disease. At this point, by the way, I've sort of throughout this series, I've kind of like refrained from talking about the original too much because, you know, it was still trying to be a remake. This point on, it seems like it's just going for something completely different, so I think I'm just going to start talking pretty openly about the original. Sorry if that annoys you, but at this point, it's kind of like, it's not even close to being the original anymore, so I feel like it's a sequel. I'm allowed to talk about the old ones at this point. Yeah, everyone gets shot. Shion and Mion as well, kind of brutal. Shion gets knocked down and then shot in the head. Mion gets shot while she's running at him, and it's just like, huh. The look on Rika's face, she's like, I thought we won. We won, didn't we? No, you didn't win. You lost. She doesn't understand how it ended like this. Doesn't give Oishi any information because she doesn't have. Well, I mean, she does, but she doesn't. If that makes sense. And then Oishi, of course, you know, he doesn't want to shoot Rika. That would be too merciful. Instead, no, he gets the bat and starts beating Rika to death in the head with it. Just like, I mean, Keiichi was fine, just like Keiichi did to the uncle. The fact that those two scenes are like mirroring each other is making me think something else might be up. Like, I was going to say, is Keiichi Oishi? But that wouldn't make sense because they refer to him as Oishi. I don't know. Something's definitely going up there, though. I don't think they would mirror those scenes so closely. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't know. But and also the fact that he had the bat in the first place is like, how did he get that? Satoko then shows up covered in blood from the Keiichi incident, and then Reina is like, stay back, Satoko. And then presumably Satoko gets killed? Maybe? I'm not too sure. Hang on a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hasn't the loop reset every time Satoko gets killed? Obviously Rika is dead as well. Am I getting that wrong? Because this one lasted until Satoko, we saw her last before the opening, and then we get a new loop. I know people have been suspicious of Satoko, and people have told me in the comments, I've read it online. But why would she show up after Oishi? And Oishi had the bat. How would he get there first? I need answers, damn it. I need answers. But the point is, of this first part, Oishi mullered everyone. I think that's a fair thing to say. Everybody got mullered. Rika wakes up in the dream world dimension thing, I don't really know what to call it, with Hanyu, and Rika remembers who killed her this time. So before the other loops, Rika couldn't remember who killed her, so she didn't remember, in the Shion loop and the original loop, she doesn't remember who killed her. In this loop, though, she's remembered, Oishi's the one that kills me. Hanyu, also, it turns out, don't remember if we learnt this before, but I didn't know as much then. This Hanyu is like a memory fragment of Hanyu. It's not like the full Hanyu is there. I guess real Hanyu has kind of disappeared in Rika's real time, maybe. That's kind of how I see it, maybe. I'm not sure. She tells Rika, she can't leave the dimension also. That's why she's not just, floating around Rika all the time. She says, hey, I'm going to use the last of my strength to give you some power back. You're going to remember all your loops now. And I'm like, well, that's convenient. But no, it kind of had to happen. Especially because I'm assuming what we're getting next is going to be some heavily, this is all going to be new from now on, is what I'm guessing anyway. This Rika, by the way, so Rika was 5 years in the future from surviving. So I guess end of Higurashi, Kai, Rei, I guess. 5 years in the future, that's how long Rika survived, and then she got sent back. So did Rika die 5 years in the future? We don't know. But all we know is Rika was 5 years in the future, and then she got called back for some reason. Who knows why? I think she died. I think she got killed in the future, and then Hanyu pulled her back, because that was the only way to save her. Like, maybe her death was still ordained, and they had to change something else to save Rika in the future. I don't really know. That's just kind of, I'm just guessing here. I'm just making things. This is a different Hinamizawa, as we know. Different from the original. In case you weren't aware, they were like, it's slightly different. I'm like, it's not slightly anymore. It's completely different. Hanyu then starts glitching, and then Rika has a little bit of a breakdown because her soul is 100 years old, and she's worried that even if she breaks free again, beats Hinamizawa, beats the killer, whatever, she might just get called back again for a third time. Higurashi 3. I can't think of a funny title. I'm sorry. And then she's like, if Hanyu disappears, I'll really be all alone, because Hanyu's been there literally the whole time with her. She's the only one who truly understands her. And of course, no. Hanyu then tells her, this felt kind of cheap and kind of out of nowhere. She's like, by the way, there's a sword in the statue that can kill people who time loop. And I'm like, well, that's convenient, Why do you have something like that just lying around, Hanyu? And then Hanyu says bye and disappears, and Rika cries a lot, obviously, because Hanyu's gone. And I'm just sitting here like, oh man, they didn't give Hanyu very much to do. Like, she had the scene in episode 2, and then this scene. If that's literally all she's had this season, it's almost like, why did they even bother? And I like Hanyu too, so, I guess it's cool she was there. Bye, Hanyu. You will be missed, I suppose. Rika then wakes up back in reality, a new reality. Satoko's all worried about her because she's crying in her sleep, and then she acts like nothing is wrong, although her act is weak. This whole episode, the second half, her act is weak for how she's like, I'm fine, but it's like, you're clearly not fine. You look like you've seen a ghost. They get a phone call. Rika gets a knife and goes to cut her throat, but luckily Satoko returns quickly, so, Rika doesn't cut her own throat. I'm on board with that. Let's not be doing that, Rika. Satoko basically says, hey, Mion wants to go see us, and Rika's like, I have something I gotta go do. But then eventually Satoko is like, hey, you can do it after our meeting. And then Rika's like, that's true, I guess I can. And it's like, Rika, I mean, obviously she wanted to go get the sword and just end it right then, but, you know, she doesn't want to die, but it's hard, I think is where Rika's head's at this point. They all meet up, the whole gang is there, and immediately they can all tell something's wrong with Rika. Shion is not part of their group in this world, I guess. She's just off doing her own thing. They do know her, though. Mion's like, well, I mean, I can call her if you want to see her. So I guess she's not super close to them, but they do know her, I suppose. It's not like the first one or the second one where they didn't know who Shion was, or at least Keiichi didn't know who Shion was. Rika gets to pick the game, and she picks hide and seek. Anywhere in Hinamizawa, Rika's the only one hiding. And yeah, it's not, is it a metaphor? It's like, the hide and seek is like, she's like, yeah, basically, they find me, I won't kill myself. Which is, again, let's not be doing that. So she runs off, and she does say as she leaves, she's like, if you can't find me, it's not your fault. And he's like, don't feel sad, it's not your fault. And it's like, if I was her friends, I'd be like, well, that's ominous. That obviously is a red flag right there. And they're like, oh, okay, a hide and seek. They all split up. She wasn't in the bog at school. You know, the one she got killed in one of the routes. Was that the second one? I think it was the second one. She's not at the shrine. She's not at the junkyard. You know, they go to all the different places. What's the shrine? Is that for the route we just saw where Oishi killed her? That was near the shrine, I guess. And then the junkyard, I guess, is for the first route. Does that mean she got killed at the junkyard in that? Is this all the places she died? Because we haven't seen her die, you know, in the first route. We knew she was in the bog in the second one. Maybe she died in the junkyard. And how did she die in the first route? I can't remember. I have no idea who it could be at this point. Like, everyone's suspicious of Satoko, but this episode made me think, is it too obvious? Is it too obvious that it's Satoko? I don't know at this point. But yeah, she runs off. They couldn't find her, and then Keiichi, they're all going to go home and like, oh well, we'll check on her whenever. And then Keiichi's like, no, we need to find her because friends. And then they keep looking because friends. Because Keiichi says like, she wants us to find her, you know? Because he could tell that, hey, something's bothering her, and somehow this is going to affect her whether we find her or not. So, I mean, to be fair, he was completely right. He might not have known he was completely right, but he was. Rika is at the Furude storehouse, and the sword isn't in the statue's head. Remember, the statue broke when Takano and that were in there. Obviously, this is related to that, because that's where the sword is. However, it's not in there. The sword's not there. Did someone steal the sword? What happened? Rika starts laughing, like properly. I should probably mention this. Rika's voice actress in this episode was flipping on point. The whole episode, she was really good. So I can't when she was laughing, she sounded like she was laughing. You know what I mean? It sounded like she was laughing because she's so broken down, so worn out, and it's like, of course that would go wrong as well. I can't even die right. But no, she reaches her hand inside the thing, does find a shard of the sword, and she's like, this will probably get the job done. And I'm like, will it? You need to ring Hanyu up and be like, excuse me, does the sword work if it's in pieces? You know, can I use a shard of it? You need to get customer services on that. She goes to slit her throat and is like, let's end this now. And then she hears the friends. They're like, Rika, where are you? And she's like, not yet. I'm not going to do it yet. Because again, she doesn't really want to die. She just, you know, she wants to live a normal life at this point. Or at least semi-normal, you know. It doesn't want to die over and over again. That's a way of putting it. She does keep the sword, though, so she can do it whenever she wants. And she decides, all right, 5 more loops, and then I'm giving up. So what I think, and that was where we end the episode. Those are going to be short loops. How many episodes have we got left? 10? So they're going to be 2-episode loops? Like, or are we going to maybe have a few longer ones? Maybe one loop where she dies within an episode really quick. You know, maybe she'll get reckless and then she will get killed really early on because she's being reckless, maybe. And then we'll have some more that are, you know, longer. I'm looking forward to see what happens. This is definitely out of remake territory now. When you think how little time we've got left, and they haven't revealed the villain, the original villain, who I guess I should say, I'm not going to say right now, just in case. They haven't revealed the original villain, you know, who it was. They haven't yeah, I think this is definitely, I mean, it was a sequel anyway, but it's original now. Like, it's 100% fully original, we'll go with. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. What I think's going to happen is, I do think there's someone else looping. I don't think it's just Rika. I know people have said Satoko, some people have said Reina. Haven't seen anyone really say Mion's been looping, but it could have been. Like, at this point, I believe it. Takano? Is Takano looping? Or Oishi? No, I don't think Oishi would be looping. He wouldn't get got. Irie? Like, people who haven't shown up so much could be suspicious. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I have no idea, though. I definitely think the sword is going to be used to kill the second looper, whoever they may be. And that's a scary thought. Who do I think it is? Yes, Satoko is pretty sus. Like, and I still can't try and figure out what's going on at the beginning. Like, why did Oishi have the baseball bat? You know, that's the thing I can't figure out. People are going to comment and be like, that wasn't the baseball bat, it was just a pipe. And if it was just a pipe, please do let me know. It'll make me look like an idiot. But at this point, I'd rather, you know, be corrected than you know, be wrong forever. Even if it makes me look like a fool. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. Exciting stuff. We're still in the Neko arc. I can't remember exactly what it's called, which is completely different from the Neko arc of the original. Like, they share the Neko name, or you know, the Neko part of the name, but the other one was like it was like an oil mine or something. I can't really remember it. And they didn't even go to the oil mine. They just talked about it for 20 minutes, and then that was the episode. It was an OVA. It was pretty meh. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how this goes on. Do you think that the rest of the arcs after this will be, you know, sort of related to the originals, or do you think we're going to go, okay, these are completely different now? I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. I hope we do find out what happened exactly in the earlier arcs, like who killed Rika. And I think we will, because they brought it up again that she doesn't remember. So presumably the second looper remembers. So we'll have to see. We'll have to find out. But for right now, what was my favourite part of this week's episode? Let's have a look. It was a good episode this week. It was a good episode. So my favourite part, I considered just Rika throughout this episode, like the voice actress's performance, her, you know, breaking down and just being done with everything, and it was really good, her throughout the episode. But sometimes you just need a reminder of how bloody barbaric this show can be, and of course I've gone for the bit at the start, with Oishi just brutally murdering everyone. Like, this GOU hasn't been as outright horrifying as I'd say like the original was, but it still has its moments. And like, seeing, you know, him just headshot people and, you know, blood pouring out of Shion's head. I like Shion, she's my favourite. Why would you do that to poor Shion? I suppose it might actually be a mercy we didn't see Satoko get killed. And of course him beating Rika to death with the bat also was like yeah, okay, that's really good. Definitely think there's something there with, you know, Keiichi doing it and then Oishi doing it. I think there's definitely something there. There's a reason that's mirrored, but we'll have to find out. But for right now, I'm even more intrigued than I was already. You know, there's been like subtle things throughout. I think we're going to, you know, not abandon subtlety, but I think it's going to be a lot more, you know, this is different now, you know. And that's good. That's good. For me anyway, I think that's good. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe and stuff for more reviews. That would help me out a lot. I will see you next week for another episode of this. So take care and bye, guys.